and then I'll give you the link.
Yeah.
Okay. थोड़ा अपने side late load होता है.
I know that. No, I think it eventually happens like that.
Yeah, it started here. So let me just
Okay.
copy paste the link to you. I'm sending it in WhatsApp to you, and then
Done. I'll just post it on my status.
yeah. All right. I'll Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to Author series. And what could be a better book than Pause and Reflect? So, because this is a comeback for me, this is kind of a comeback because I took a pause and then I reflected and then I'm back here. So I thought that let's pick up the best book which has come live and published along with Shweta here. And yes, so let's talk about Shweta a bit. And rather than telling that she's into mindfulness, she's into Zumba, which I've already declared on the posters, what I really want to talk about is something which I experienced with her during this journey when she was writing the book under my guidance. And so one thing that I observed in her and that pulled me towards her even more was that one thing in everything, whatever she was doing, even when it was, coming into the session or talking about that big vision of book, or even, talking about maybe fitness, or sometimes I asked her about Zumba as well. Everything reflected that one thing, that was passion. And I guess she lives up to it, whatever she does. And that's what, I used to often get goosebumps in those coaching sessions, and that has still stayed with me. Whenever I talk to her, I see that passion talking so much in her. It's bubbling up like that life force energy in her, and that's something which it's very positively infectious or contagious, I should say. One more thing which I learned from her was to surrender to the process. And definitely she being the mindfulness coach, she knows it better. And I don't think so anybody else could have done it better than her. And when she used to come to the session, she used to, you know, completely, enjoy the process. And that's very rare. And that's so beautiful to witness that, she used to say this, that, when I'm doing this research, I'm enjoying this process. When I'm writing this story or rewriting this story, I'm loving to read it. I'm loving to rethink about it. I'm loving to brainstorm about it. And that's where the author's mindset also lies, because it's not just about, ideating, or it's not even just about coming to a coach. I always prefer that if you can do it by yourself, nothing like it. And definitely a coach comes and puts that effort forward, and where you may lack time or you may lack structure, but the inner the inner shine or the inner sparkle, that either gets cultivated or that already is there in you. And that's what I found in Shweta, that she carried that mindfulness, in fact integrated that into this process of writing, and that became all the more beautiful. In fact, I would confess that at times I was looking at writing in a different way, that okay, yes, many a times I forget to be mindful, many a times, because writing is my profession, I'm helping every other person, and sometimes it becomes so robotic and I don't pause, and I often sometimes don't reflect. And when she used to come, I think God sent me for that reminder that, that's all about, it's all about pause and reflect. And that's what a book is also about. And one last thing before I talk about her book is that what I'm imbibing in me, apart from the mindfulness, apart from the passion, which I've already talked about in terms of knowing Shweta, is that, dreaming big and aiming high. And this came to me very apparently when she was in the final phase of writing, and we were collecting the pre-publishing praises. And she told me, I forgot the name of the coach, which she herself will tell me the authors. And that was one of the best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, and she mailed her or him. And I was like, wow. In fact, without even thinking about whether they will reply or not, but she did it. I been at that place at that moment of time, I would have thought 1,000 times, Arey, what if they say no, and all those limiting thoughts were there. But just by looking at her courageous action, I was like, that's what believing in your book is all about. That's what, whether you are not a best selling or not, whether your book has sold or not, but the sheer fact that you believe in this idea so much that you know that your book is worth reaching to that person also. And that gave me a lot of insight about, how about cultivating that mindset in people. Because often at times we write book and we get away with it, or we write because we want to get a brand. But when Shweta came to me, I'm sure those benefits must have been there, or there she might have listed those benefits in her mind. But the the sheer part of she reliving that process of all those stories that she had written was completely which sets her apart. So I told you all of this so that you know her beyond the author tag, which we will be talking about today, and beyond the mindfulness, beyond everything what Shweta stands for. That's what she stands for me. And definitely her book, Pause and Reflect. Definitely, it's a collection of the podcast which she had launched with her husband, and she wanted to rewrite those stories in a form of a book. Definitely, there was a bit of work needed because the way you speak versus the way you write has to be a bit different. So for that, I was there to help. And again, the way she was working on each of these stories, although it took a bit of long time, but I never consider that, as long as the person is very much aligned. And sometimes life keeps on happening and people come back, and that's what happened. And in all this journey, it's again one thing got proved again, that I learned more than what she would have learned here. And lots and lots of learning. Do give it a shot. Pause and reflect is the need of the hour. Whether people must have learned it so many times, have heard it, maybe this word is like a, everybody's throwing it here, there, everywhere, but how many of you are actually implementing it is the real question. And that's what we are going to talk today. So welcoming Shweta on board here on Author to Author series.
Thank you so much, Heena. What a pleasure. Oh my God. Oh my, that's such a beautiful introduction. There were some things that I didn't know about myself. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Most welcome, most welcome. So
Wonderful.
I really mean those. And as
Yes.
we were talking before the live started, also that, I'm going to talk about many things which I observed during the journey. And definitely that would be one of the parts. And one of the very important part is that enjoying the process. And I'll keep
Absolutely.
on coming to that. But before we go and delve deeper into the part of mindfulness, I want to ask you the very basic question, that how did it all begin for you to think about, okay, this should be converted into a book, or maybe I'm ready to write a book. Where did this start from?
Oh my God. In fact, before we decided to do this live stream, I was just wondering that, everything about the book. And that helped me actually go to the recap and where it all started. And right now it is so fresh in my mind, Ina. So, in short, it has been, I don't know how many years, like I am 45 right now.
Hmm.
The whole journey started almost 30 years back. I was not much of a good reader, but books always attracted me. And I think most of the time, being so much energetic, I think you know about my energy. I have so much of energy, and I think Zumba takes care of that, making me so much tired that I relax down with my energy. So I never used to sit down at a place or read a book. Stories always inspired me. Could be any book reading. So since childhood, everybody must have told me that, you don't even sit down, Shweta, or you're not able to even read for half an hour. I was always moving around and dancing and going for sports and all energetic. It was never, calm and relaxed, whatever is there in my book right now. So I had thought that, I would never be able to write a book or those kind of beliefs. Arey, Shweta doesn't enjoy book readings much, but the way my mom, dad used to read and everything. And as I grew up, I still was attracted to books. My favorite pastime, in fact, when my daughter was like 5 years plus, my favorite time, on the Sundays used to be like, I used to take her to the crosswords. I was like, let's hang out. You hang out with some books, I'll hang out and we'll just read. Not necessary every time we have to buy. So this all started and everything changed when I met you. I must say that. Of course, this podcast was in my mind. And believe me, till then I met you, Hina, I never thought that I will write or convert this podcast into a book. I met you and then I thought, hey, you know what? I love so much about mental fitness, about mindfulness. And of course, we both know our coaching journeys. So I said, I want to write something that makes a difference in people. It's just not about, becoming famous. It was about being, or maybe, just creating some legacy. That was my plan. I believe that even though we die, people should remember us for that one single thing that made a difference. It could be a YouTube video, it could be Instagram, it could be anything. And I still remember we met because of our PCC connection. We both wanted to give for PCC exam, I remember, and that's where we connected. And I told you that, hey, it was a destiny for me as well. As if you say that you meeting me is a destiny, it was same destiny for me. So the moment I met you and, I got to know that you are a book coach, and I was like, hey, is it my destiny? And I said, Heena, it's been, if you remember, I said, it's been a dream that I wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
If you ask me, writing a book maybe 10 years back was more like, oh, you know what? If I write a book, I might get more famous. Those kind of stuff. I never knew the journey of writing a book, but I knew that people who write book, like, they are duly respected. And I was like, let me start this journey. But then I met you and I said that I wanted to put my thoughts into a book, which was not easy. As you know, I have taken the longer time than maybe anybody else. So met you and you said, yeah, you can write a book. And I remember the first time you told me, Shweta, 2 to 3 months, you will be able to publish your book. I was like, really? Is it possible? And I remember I came back to you after exactly 1 week, 10 days or something. I went back. I asked myself that what is it that I really want to write about? Also, your first book coaching session made my things extremely clear. You asked me first question that what is it? Do you want to write a fiction or a non-fiction? That's like I don't know if I can ever write a novel because except Sydney Shepherds, I haven't read anything much. Maybe later with John Grisham's novel and all. That era novels and all. Nowadays, I don't read any fiction much, and that's where my journey started. You, in fact, you gave me that holding hand, to change everything. It's like we need somebody to get that idea into an idea into like, hey, this is possible. And you say, yeah, Shweta, this is possible. And I was like, let's do it. If you remember, I signed up for the whole, I think I almost got 10, 15 sessions from you, like a full book coaching, if you remember, because I wanted to start from the scratch. And that's how everything came on I'd say it became into an action and a reality. But the reality was not easy. So, something about me, I think sometimes things stop me to do things is like getting overly perfectionist about something.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it's being a designer, I don't know what's in me, but if I'm doing something, I want to do it very systematically. And that over systematicness kind of delays stuff. Let it be from my school submissions, my architecture submissions, sometimes my Zumba choreographies. Even today, when I do program designing, everything takes time because till then, I am not totally convinced with it. I never go forward. And I think thank you for putting that whole, my struggle and over perfectionist thing into one word called as passion. Yes, I am extremely passionate about everything that I do. And that's where I started my journey. And believe me, I never thought of actually writing about the podcast. I thought to myself, if you remember the first session you asked me, Shweta, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to? I said, I'm very comfortable to talk about mindfulness because I am a follower of mindfulness. That's where everything started. And correct me if I'm wrong, most of the people lose the thought of writing a book when it comes to creating content in the book. People think, and one of the best takeaways that I got from your session is it's okay, even though it is a 50 pages or a 100 pages book, Shweta. Just write it. It's your first book. And I was like, you made the journey so easy. And then I think all the coaching sessions from dialogue deliveries and sensory words, I still remember all those sessions.
Oh.
And something that I struggled while writing is creating drama, if you remember. And I was like, oh, 1 + 1 = 2. And you said, no, not necessary, Shweta. It could be 1 + 1 could be 4 - 3. And I was like, oh my God, this drama I cannot create. But eventually, I think you're right when you mentioned that hearing a podcast and when you're talking about it, it's totally different than when you read it.
Yeah.
And when you're reading, you create scenes. And now I understand it's about creating details. And, I think first story when I wrote, I sent it to you and you're like, okay, do these changes. And the fourth, story onwards, the fourth chapter, fifth chapter onwards, I didn't get much of feedback from you. And I was like, really? And Heena likes my work and Heena's loving what I'm writing. So I think that kind of gave me more and more confidence. So thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. Most welcome. And it's been very uplifting to know all this because it's one thing to do it. As I said, I was not very conscious. I was just going ahead with wherever the corrections were needed, I suggested you. And as and when it progressed, I saw that there wasn't the need of that because you were so involved and dipped in the process that
Yeah,
picking it up, it's like sucking the nectar very fast. And that's what you were doing.
absolutely.
And
Wow.
it was really reflecting in all the next chapters which you were sending to me. And I was like, wow, this girl is like, patapat say, one after the other, she's absorbing things. And so that was very, very wonderful. And I guess like the reason that you said that you were very
Mhm.
physically active and you wanted something to sit with. And I guess it
Yeah,
comes
something to
back
calm
to
down.
full
Yeah.
circle. Yes. So for me, it has always been sitting more. And now life came a full circle for me to, get involved into health and all those things also. So life always comes a full circle through the opportunities or the things that you want to do and realize
Yeah,
and balance it up.
absolutely. That's so well said. I think we all meet people for a reason.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
right? Because I think the way people inspire us, in fact, if you are getting inspired, I am actually very much inspired by your work. And every time we talk and meet, I keep telling you this, that, the way you run your book club, the way you constantly inspire people. In fact, recently, because of you, I think you hosted a blogathon almost 3 months or 6 months back.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was in my mind, it was there I participated, but if you remember, I couldn't complete. I just wrote two
Ah,
blogs. That's
yes.
it. I think the blogathon was for 10 blogs or something. And I was like, it's okay, whatever it is, I'll write it down. But it stayed with me. And eventually, right now, since 2 to 3 months, it's on my like daily agendas that I at least write one blog weekly.
Wow.
And I wait for the process. And
Wow.
every time I write it, I read it every day. Till then, I'm not happy that, yeah, I've furbished it good. I like the flow because it's not just writing anything. I wanted to put my thoughts on the paper. And I don't like writing typical or which is traditional. I personally believe that we should be able to put our thoughts in everything. And I think that's about creating a legacy. And
Ah,
that's the reason we all are different, right?
yes, yes, indeed.
So
In
it has
fact,
been a journey, but it is like I love writing, and yes, you have been that push and pull both the things together.
wow, so beautiful and so wonderfully said that, before this live started, you said that, I've got back, I'm doing the blogging part, and I was really happy because, again, coming back to the part that you missed writing, which nowadays, all the due credits to AI, not the good credits, that, people are like, okay, let's get done with writing. And anyway, AI is doing the job for us. So what is the need? They don't
I
feel,
know.
this itch to write and to express in their way because AI is doing for them. And in these days I was getting very much I would say judgmental about all that. Okay,
Mhm.
uh, I also do use AI. It's not that I don't. When I promote my stuff, I do use AI.
Of course.
However, I've set my boundaries. Whenever it comes to my own work and my book, AI will not be the author. It might be the assistant.
Wonderfully said. Thank you so much. I think you just
It
defined the
will not
whole thing.
surpass my
AI
right.
is not my author. Yeah,
Yeah. Then I'm undervaluing myself. Then if AI is doing everything, then what about my expression? Would I be saying the same line the same way? So that's where your work stands apart because you did it by yourself. You could have taken the help
yes.
of AI. You could have done that, but the sheer fact that you did not do and still had so much faith, and that's what makes your book stand apart. Again, my philosophy as a book coach stands different from other ones. They may
Mm.
be focused on the best selling book, becoming a best selling author. For me, it is about being best in yourself. If you can do that, and if you can stand in mirror and say that, yes, I wrote my book and I'm proud of it, and say that to you yourself in the mirror, that's it. Less rest other jobs are like done afterwards, then that same vibe is carried in your book, and that same vibe is carried to the reader as well. There might be not
Absolutely.
10 crores reader, but definitely with time the number increases.
Increases. I think that also, I remember you also mentioning when, now that you're talking about how many readers to reach, I
Hmm.
remember you also help basic marketing that Shweta, this you can do. You can also talk to the influencers if you remember.
Yes.
So it was a lovely journey with you. And I love this fact you talk about AI.
Hmm.
So we don't have to, as you said, we don't have to hate the AI, but at the same time, we need to draw the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I am going to I'm going to steal this line from you that AI is not the author of my book. I am the author of my book. And you're right. Sometimes I hate when AI starts deciding that how I should take my blog or how can I just take my writing. And
Right.
there itself, I was like, hello, I am the author. I decide with my thoughts. And I think let's not lose our self identity while following AI. I
Yeah.
think that's a very crucial point that we all need to remember.
I agree. I agree. In fact, many of the people suggested me that, now that AI is there, anyway, book coach is of no use. Why don't you come up with such courses where how to write a book with AI? And I'm still not in line with that. I was like, okay, fine. If there are still people who will not let AI be the author of their book, and those are my
Hmm.
people there. So it's fine that if there is a segregation in people, absolutely fine. It's not that people are not currently writing with AI, but whenever they come, I tell them this one thing, that let this not be the author. You can use it as an assistant. So there's a
Yeah,
difference between assistant and author.
absolutely. It's an assistant, it's not the author.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and isn't writing a book, Hina, is a digital detox? Because
Uh,
when you write a book, you are away from all the judgmental, spaces which create FOMOs in our life. We don't even realize that. Because if we write something, and why do we need any confirmation and validation from AI?
hmm.
I think it's just that this is my thought and that's it. I also remember one of your quote. I think it was a quote or you mentioned in the book club that, many people have written the same topic, but it was never written by you.
Yeah.
And I think that's very powerful, what you have mentioned.
And AI is defeating that because now everybody's writing the same way with same
I
words,
know.
line, sentence structures, and everything.
And in fact, about this, in fact, day before I was just writing on LinkedIn and I didn't get much comments on that also on my LinkedIn. When I mentioned, oh, can your AI do Zumba for you and burn your calories? So I think people are just hyping up. I think most of the people who are talking more about AI and allowing it to dominate are those people who are running their technologies according to AI.
Yeah,
But AI is business. AI is the new world. Everything is fine. But even though after 100 more years, we cannot replace a human being with a robot because I think we forget the improvisation, what we truly are.
exactly.
So, and I know why you say about AI, things that you were speaking, because I connect with that, that nobody can, write what I can write. Nobody can think maybe I can give the prompts.
Yeah,
Maybe sometimes, in fact, I used to, even writing blogs, sometimes I do take help of generative AI. But this, helps me to put better words when sometimes I'm not creative about new words, sensory words, or dialogues and everything.
yeah,
But I don't allow anybody to replace and write something which I don't want to write.
yeah,
I think as authors, we just have to be mindful. And I'm so happy that my book coach doesn't want to follow AI. So I'm happy and proud of this.
yeah, yeah. Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Shweta. So next thing I want to ask, which is very important, and often gets underrated, is that why? What is your why behind writing? And I'm sure like every why is a very emotionally deep rooted why. If somebody is, for me, if somebody is able to take up a journey and sustain through that journey, whether it is a fitness journey, whether it is a book writing journey, they definitely have a strong why. That why can be also this part that, all this while I've tried everything in my coaching and now it's time to, work through my book and shine with the book in my coaching. That's also fine, but there has to be a very strong emotional why. So would love to know yours. Like I know the reason, but let's let the audience know about it.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. I think it's a beautiful question. I think my biggest why that I decided to write a book was, first of all, it's a big deal for me, When
Hmm.
I decided, of course, I enjoy the process, but I think one of the reason that I thought, as I mentioned about creating legacy in life, even though we stay here, I don't know, maybe by doing cardiovascular, I'll live for 100 years, for example. But after that, what is it? So I was just thinking that I wanted to create a legacy. Now, a legacy can be created through your work. But today, sitting here, wherever I am, I can just reach maybe 50, 100, or maybe 500 people one to one or personally. I can keep talking about mindfulness, being a mental fitness coach. But I think the most important thing is we need to understand what are different channels that you can help people read or motivate or just get inspired to whatever. I know that if I say this, it's going to add value, and this is something what people need, because I think mental fitness being my value of life. So I thought writing book is a channel, like a social media. In social media, you do videos. In person places also we talk. But I think there are a bunch of people who still pick up a book or maybe a digital ebook and still believe in reading, because reading is like a therapy. So that was my big why, that I think I should go with different channels. It's not only social media. I want people to pick up a book sometime while commuting, while traveling, sitting in a flight. Just, that's a beautiful space where you have to sit compulsory 2 hours somewhere. And it's a good idea that you just be with the book, because books transport us.
Absolutely. And these days it has become a luxury for people. Like picking out time for books
Absolutely.
seems like an effort also. But yes, there are people who are doing that and they
Yes.
are completely dedicated to that.
Absolutely, Hina. Because even today morning, I decide that at least for half an hour, 30 minutes. In
Hmm.
fact, I don't get my phone from the bed edge to the coffee area. I
Wow.
decide that first 30 minutes, nothing is going to happen. The world is not going to stop if I don't check my messages. It's okay. Sometimes I run away from the digital space. I don't want to look at my WhatsApp at times, because I know I have to, it's going to take time. So I keep a book, any books, mainly about mindfulness, about stillness. In fact, recently, you remember, I think you were giving out books. I got a book from you of Eckhart Tolle, and I think it is about stillness.
Stillness
That how
speak.
beauty, yes, still, yes. So that has been on my table right now. And coffee time, I just open. And every time I read, books always give you a different message, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a as you said, like reading and writing are therapies for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. So I'm very sure those who are watching and will be watching it later also would be having this question in their mind because of the attention span which we have. How did you manage to stay on track, and were there any challenges, and how did you overcome those in your journey of writing?
Yes, I think one of the biggest challenge, I'm sure all the readers, and that's a common challenge,
Yes.
time management. It's, I think, you want to do something. It's like a hobby that you're pursuing, and you're doing something which right now you might not be getting paid for, and you have to take care of your lifestyle and livelihood. So I think that was the biggest challenge, and that was one of the reason that the book used to get delayed in the first few months. That no, I have my trainings, oh, I'm traveling, if you remember, I used to say that, and I'll write it next week. And then next week you used to remind me, Shweta, you haven't sent me the next chapter, and I was like, wait, next week. So that was my thing, that was challenging. And I think what really helped me to stay on the track was the beauty of the process. While I used to write, while I used to be in the sessions with you, I think that peacefulness, that harmony, that it was a beautiful space. I think the play with the words that I, newly learned from you, that how to play with words, how to create dialogue. So I started getting engrossed into the stories. And I wanted to, for example, I still remember one of the story I mentioned. It was about just a coffee. It was two friends are in a cafe, and that two friends in the cafe, I still remember you had told me about how to create the drama and the dialogues around it. I still today also, when I opened that chapter, I keep reading that chapter because that was my favorite part in the whole book. How I actually made that cafe live. And today, many people told me, Shweta, we could imagine two friends doing all these things in the cafe. So those little process, I think I enjoy the process. So I think beauty of words that just inspired me, that got me pulled. And also, what I decide to do now, if I don't complete, it kind of makes me restless. So other than that, if I decide, okay, 1 year, one book, I'm okay with that. But I made a promise to you that within 3 to 6 months, I need to publish and let's get this done. We were already delayed by 3 months, if you remember.
Yes.
So Yeah. So, but somehow I think that passion and that discipline and that consistency somehow just, pushed me. And there was nobody to push me.
Hmm.
It was just me to myself, and that was enough.
Yes, yes, yes. Indeed. So even when I agree with this, because whether it is a course you enroll for or something like book,
Yeah.
coaches facilitate, and they facilitate once you take the action. So that
Mm,
what I saw, like many people get stuck. It's not a new story, and I totally agree. I in fact, when they come to me, I tell them that we keep a buffer, because I totally understand that many a times some blockage may be internal, where you think that okay, this is not giving me instant money, and why should I go for that? And sometimes it is external also. Life keeps on happening, and that thing is out of your control. That if something is coming,
right.
definitely you've got to pay your bills and all that. And I think
Absolutely.
that
I think
buffer,
state of mind.
yes,
Yeah.
it's
Now,
indeed.
the state of mind was something that it's not possible in today's world, Heena, as you mentioned, that take care of the kids, take care of the family, take care of the work. And now, oh, in the night, I'm going to write a book. Or today morning, I get up, but it's not possible. The only thing that can truly make you do or complete that book writing or anything in your life is if you truly believe, if you decide to yourself, and
Exactly.
then it becomes a priority. Yeah.
Because you got to prioritize, and just as I said, that sure belief in your idea, that okay, this idea might be out there, many people might have talked about pausing and reflecting, but I know what difference I will be bringing to that. And that's what keeps you going. In fact, if I look back at my journey of writing all the 4 books, this was the only idea that kept me going,
Mm.
that I know what I'm bringing on the table.
Yes. And I still remember the first time we met, I asked you that, Hina, which books did you write and can you send it to me? That
Hmm.
kind of inspired me. I was like, wow, these are like 4 and 5 books and more than that. Of course, by now it has been more. But that time I was like, wow, she actually has a book on which it is written her name, author of the book and all. So that was also like a dream come true. So yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And it is now a dream come true for you also.
Yes, absolutely. And guess what, Hina? If you remember recently, I also started writing. I have almost 4 to 6 new ideas, and I
Yes,
started writing. I was thinking about the fiction book. Actually,
yes.
I'm still not able to create the whole drama in one novel. Maybe I need another coaching session from you. I might come back to you for that. But
No,
then I actually started something. Right, I don't know when I'm going to publish, but I'll come back to you about it. But I think I wanted to write something about sales excellence.
oh, very.
It is in the process, and it is something that I have done everything, as being into Zumba or being into, being a coach. How do we sell our own business? It is all about sales excellence. So let's see when does it come out.
Wow. Wow. Very excited for that. Like, wonderful. And the
Yeah.
fact that you're choosing it to do through fictional way, that's another thing to look for.
Yeah.
That's a good challenge that you've taken up for
It's a
yourself.
story, yes, I
Yes.
know. And it is so easy to write your own story, isn't it, Hina? But I think people just doubt their own stories. And I think we all have powerful stories. It could be you, it could be me. I'm sure all your, all the coaches like, or even people who are taking coaching from you. So I think we should not doubt to write our own story.
Absolutely.
It that every story will create a difference in somebody's life. I think that's the legacy for all of us.
It does. It does. It indeed is. Cool. So before we move forward, I would love to, and people who are on YouTube watching us can definitely check out her book, which is Pause and Reflect, and go and give it a shot. I'm sure you're not gonna repent it or not gonna think again. Even one story, if you read, you will be completely head over heels with this book for sure. And with that, Shweta, let's talk about something that you do apart from being an author, which is mindfulness and Zumba. And
Yeah.
first, what is mindfulness? And second, how does Zumba, how do you relate Zumba to mental fitness? Physical fitness, definitely, we all are aware of the benefit.
Yeah.
But how do you relate mindfulness and Zumba to mental fitness?
Wonderful. So I think I'll talk about Zumba first because I think it should get more footage because that's the thing that I'm doing from the last 15 years.
Absolutely.
So everything I am today, it actually happened because of Zumba only, Hina. So I By education, I'm an architect, but I discovered Zumba in 2011. I became an instructor. I started part-time, just like every other Zumba instructor is doing right now. And eventually, once I got into Zumba, what I've seen is it was not just about teaching class or enjoying the passion of dancing, which I love, but it
Mm,
was about a therapy. That 1 hour of music therapy, when you just have to continuously teach, be with the music, focused on the steps. So not only through teaching, but people who are following me, they also became mindful. Because in Zumba, the trick is that you have to follow the instructor,
mm,
and I cannot let my eye go on my students. And I think that momentary peacefulness or focus, that I cannot think of anything else. I cannot think of my daughter. I cannot think of home chores. I cannot think if the maid came or not, any all those things and all. I was there in the class. Zumba is basically like a music therapy. And of course, once you move for 1 hour, I think a lot of endorphins are released, dopamine is released. So it's a beautiful format. So this is how I started my thought process, that why am I enjoying Zumba so much? So I think that's how I connect Zumba and music therapy, and that comes into the mindfulness of being into that one moment every class or every step. And I think once you asked me about mindfulness, I think it's just about being in the present moment. And I think, when we also did our PCC, everything was about being about having awareness. And I still remember when 10 years back, if you ask me, the moment I used to get angry on something or I used to get restless about something, I
mm.
never realized that why am I getting angry? Every time the anger was related to that, hey, somebody did this, and that's the reason I'm angry. So we were naturally, I would say, conditioned to put the blame game. Hey, this person didn't do something, that person, and that's the reason we are angry. It's fine. But eventually, once you start becoming aware that why this emotion, and that has been a journey into mindfulness. And what I like about mindfulness is self-acceptance.
Yes.
Everything mindfulness says, accept whatever way you are, accept everything that you are, accept the body you have, accept the face you have. And now, in this space of acceptance, if you think that, no, I want to get into a better body because something else attracts me, something that I saw on social media, wow, this looks more presentable and I want to do that, or I want to become disease free. And I think that's where mindfulness helps you. But I think mindfulness gives you a lot of self acceptance. So, this way, your self beliefs become stronger, and thus the confidence. And that, I think, that confident space, we all will be able to take next further actions, which will be full potential. I think mindfulness will help you to act at full potential. That's it. Yeah.
Wow. So beautifully connected that, when you are in, and writing is also about being in the moment.
Yes.
And one thing
Reward.
practice with another, like if you're sharpening your maybe Zumba skills, it will help you in writing. That I've felt in my health journey also. I
Oh,
used to earlier, despite being an NLP trainer, this was
yes.
papers that mind and body are connected, blah, blah, blah. But I I would say and take this responsibility of saying that, for a time being, I got derailed from this health goals, and I also lost the vision of how it really feels when your body is active and how your mind gets sharpened with that. And when I
Yeah.
tuned with this, I realized the kind of clarity I started getting, the kind of peace, because your body is not in rush. Your body is
Hmm.
well rested, well nourished, well exercised, and that's where a mind residing in this body would act the same way. And
Absolutely. Wow, such lovely way you have put it right now. And also, I think mindfulness, being aware, even though we are into a fast life, we are commuting, like traveling somewhere, commuting somewhere. I think the more we are in rush, mindfulness tells you to slow down.
yes,
And it takes efforts, but eventually, even though you're anxious about something, um, you just slow down because your mindset is tuned for that. And I think once I would say, achieve that in that moment, life becomes very peaceful. So even though there is a lot of noise around, even though in that noisy area, you can still be calm and peaceful.
absolutely.
But if you are not, it's like the water. It's like if you are still, you will see everything around is like it's nice, happy. But if you are continuously, boiling maybe, or, just moving water, flowing water, I think then everything around also shakes you. So,
Indeed, indeed.
yeah,
Still
yeah,
the mud settles. Otherwise, it's all muddy.
yeah, it's a mirror. True.
Indeed, indeed. Wonderful. So before we wrap up, and I'm still once again telling the YouTube guys, if you have any questions, do type in the chat box. I'm having a keen eye over there as well. And yes, before we wrap up, I would like to ask Shweta one thing is that, Shweta, do you have any advice, whether it is related to writing or life? I don't mind because, once they know how to handle life, it's the same way. Writing is also like life only.
Exactly. Absolutely well said. Yeah.
So, anything you want to say to all the audience today?
Um, I think the only thing about, in fact, I would tell this about writing book. I think my first advice is that if you want to write a book and if you think that, hey, I don't know how to do it, go to Heena. I think she's the one who made the whole thing easy for me. You're one of the most passionate book coaches I have met, Heena. And that was my mindful choice. So she's like there for you. Check her timings right now, because if she is taking a pause and break, I think people will wait for you. But that is the thing. And I think, anything that we truly want to do now in life, I think I want people to give it a try. And once they start trying, they will find the proficiency or excellence to do it. But if they don't take action, if they don't do it, it's
Hmm.
going to be guilt and regret. And I think that continuously keeps pulling us in the past. So, whatever you think, the only thing is, I think, just have courage to do it. And if you don't have courage, talk to people, talk to coaches, talk to experts that I want to do it. Talk about your dream that I want to do this, I want to do it. How can I do it? Now, here, AI becomes very useful. How should I write a book, or how should I start a new business? Anything that you truly want to do, take action. Action can be talking to people, action can be doing Google search or AI search. I think there are a lot of resources around, but do not take a step back thinking that, oh, today is not a right time. Maybe I'll do it after 6 months. We don't know if we are going to be alive after 6 months.
That 6 month never comes.
Whatever it is, yeah, you're right. Tomorrow has no end. So take action today. Action can be just mental as well. That I thought about my business for half an hour today, which I want to start.
Indeed.
Take action today and have courage.
Indeed. I love this approach of either you will have at the end of it, either you will have results or reasons. Choices.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think after once you start doing it, you will know it. Hey, I'm not enjoying doing this because maybe I thought the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
But
how,
at least you tried.
yeah, at
Yeah,
least you tried and you're exploring. That means you're exploring. Otherwise, how would you like or dislike something?
absolutely. Right. It's like trying a dish.
Yeah,
So, yes, I'm a foodie and I want to try everything. Right. Yeah.
indeed, indeed. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Shweta, I love this conversation happening
Thank you.
coming from the bottom of my heart. That absolutely, and I have always loved the conversations with you whenever there was a coaching or a non-coaching call with you. But absolutely, thank you for being on board, and thank you for being the, I would say, the stepping stone of this pause and reflect, because now the pause is getting over. So I thought to start with pause.
Wonderful. Yes,
And
welcome back. I must say that. Welcome back, Heena.
thank you so much. And hoping to, do many sessions and have you on board for many other things as well. Maybe mindfulness very soon. So, guys,
Yes.
stay tuned. We'll come back with Shweta and with more authors again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. But Heena, may I ask you a question before
Please.
we leave? So, I know so many people, you being a PCC coach, a book coach. I think, how can people actually find their why? Because I think this is the most commonly, doubt, or I'm sure even in your coaching sessions and all.
Hmm.
So what do you think that what is the best way that it will help people to find the why or to be aware? Any thoughts to share, or how do you practice it?
So for me, my all whys have come from my pain points in different phases of my life. So when I wrote my first book, my pain point or the problem that I was facing that time in life was self-confidence. That although I hailed from working with Times of India and Hindustan Times as a freelance writer, somewhere I did not believe in my writing skills. So I had got shortlisted in one of the anthologies, but that was there, and I was still not able to take that step that, I still deserve or I can write a book by myself. And that became my why. Thankfully, when you have this very clear, I used to journal a lot. And when you tell this to universe, the universe sends blessings in or the ways in many ways. For me, that way came through one of my Raki brothers. He was very younger to me. He has been the co-author of that very first book. And he said that, Didi, don't worry. I will give you the prompts every day and you write. And I just wrote it just for fun. I never thought what is my why behind that. But later on, when I look back, I realized that my strongest why got resolved because I was journaling back then that, whether I would be able to do that or not. So that was my stepping stone for my self confidence that yes, I can do a book by my own. And that I did. And with time, again, like first, my second book, that time my pain was about losing my mother in law. There was a huge void that got created. I did not want to just keep on crying. I used to see my son going to her room, and since he wasn't able to speak, he used to just look at the bed, and I could see that, longing that, where is my dadi? And although I cried and all those things happened, but I was like, let me channelize this. And so I started writing. I wrote around 200 poems. And then one of my friends who is also a publisher, he said that if you have written, then why not to publish? So again, there was no purpose ki, okay, I will market my book, I will stand as an author. But again, I channelized my energy. So for me, every why comes through channelizing my energies in some way or the other, or something which my subconscious mind is looking for. I just journal about it. Some way, somehow it gets manifested through books most of the time. These days it's getting manifested through my physical movements also. So some way my energy always gets channelized. I guess that's my biggest purpose, that I want to channelize my energy well, rather than maybe gossiping, or rather than cribbing about it. That's something which, if you ask me what you don't want, is what it is. And for the third book as well, like I was stuck in COVID there. And again, I thought that rather than, watching the news all the time that so many people are dying and all that, let me attempt some challenge so that, my mind stays creative. So that's what I did. There was this story prompt challenge going on your quote. And I just took it up and was writing one story every single day. And within 25 days, I had 25 stories. And so I was just happy that, not getting into that trap of what everybody is going through and just cribbing about it, just to stay away from that. Although in NLP, it
Yeah.
is very stay away from part, but yes, I was very clear that this is something which I don't want to get into. And after I came for the fourth book, then I consciously started defining my why, that, why do I really want to write the book? And that time, definitely, it was about creating my brand and identity as a book coach. So every time my why evolved, initially they were very emotional whys. And in fact, when I look back at my other journeys also, like my health journey also, most of the whys are very emotional whys, very emotionally rooted whys. Like my reason for resuming my health journey, for balancing my hormones and losing weight and everything, stems from the fact that many people ask me that once you die, who will be with your son? And once
Hmm.
this thought came to me that why to think about even dying? Why can't I outlive him by staying healthy?
Absolutely.
Why
Wonderful.
do I think about कि मैं मर जाऊंगी तो क्या होगा? Why can't I think about कि मैं जी सकती हूँ इतना? And when things are there, resources are there, my age can support me. I have, good financial resources. Why not to invest in that? So it's
True.
always a very emotional why for me. And I guess
Hmm.
to have a very strong emotional why, whether it is to stay away from something, which was in my case, that, I'm staying, I don't want to get into the cribbing mode, oh God, dunya mein itna sab kuch ho raha hai. So that was also an emotional why, that I don't want to disrupt my mental health into that. And every time it was a very emotionally strong why that has taken me forward. And if I look back at any of your journey or anyone who has published the book, somewhere I find that emotional why in their journeys for sure. Whether
Yes.
it is about, just believing, as you believe in your stories so much. That's again a very emotional why, that the journey that you have taken, you don't worry about,
Yeah.
how many books have been sold, but still, whoever it gets to, or whoever buys this book will definitely think about it, will definitely serve the purpose of this book, which is pause and reflect. So for
Wonderful.
me, it is about emotional wise, and, understanding those will give you a more strength about, continuing your journey.
Yeah. I think wonderful, Heena. I think wonderfully said when you said that most of the whys, they do come from the pain point. I think this is a big awareness point for all of us. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Most welcome. Most welcome. My pleasure. So thank you for being here. And I'm sure we will meet soon with Shweta also very soon. I'm planning some things are boiling up in my mind. So just let me give some
Thank you.
I'll get it rolling very soon. And meanwhile, I'll also be interviewing other authors on board for author to author series. Many have got published, but I was like taking a break and I was like, okay, sabko hone do publish. So you will
So
many
many series, many episodes coming along. I'm waiting to watch as well.
Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Shweta. So thank you so much for the audience. And thank you, Shweta, for taking out time and being here and having this wonderful, wonderful conversation with us.
Thank you so much, Heena. What a pleasure. Thank you so much.